Ray, I've had this passion, some would call it an obsession, with trying to understand fundamental reality. And the question I like to ask is, what exists now? In one sense, trillions of things exist that we can describe, but I want to get down to the primary categories of existence so that we can make them as small as possible. Where would you start?
I think that's very difficult. I mean, you can have a big menagerie or a small menagerie when it comes to kinds of beings. On the whole, I have a very rather uninspiring menagerie. I think, without doubt, there are material objects. I think, without doubt, there are things like thoughts. I think, without doubt, there are things like persons. That's pretty well the sum total. Of course, within physics, we also quite properly have space and time and energy and so on. All of those things I don't deny.
Oh, okay, so you gave me three categories, and the first is material objects, and within that, you dig down and you get space and time, matter and energy, laws of physics, quantum physics, etc. So that's category one. Then you have thoughts, and then persons. Now,
thoughts are more broadly experiences, I would say. Yes.
Experiences.
And then
experiences. Okay, and that's different than persons. But experiences, some would say, is derivative of the material world. You might disagree with that, but I think you'd say thoughts or experiences are derivative of persons. Can you have experiences without persons?
Yes, I mean the relationship between experiences and the material world is very difficult. Clearly, the material world, as it were, doesn't declare itself. It isn't self-revealing. It clearly requires some kind of assistance. What form that assistance is, I don't know. So a material world that's completely uninhabited by conscious beings clearly wouldn't have any self-revelation, as it wouldn't reveal itself. I think thoughts, experiences, and so on, they're individually very important, but that which they add up to, that temporally deep, internally tied, connected individual, Raymond Tallis, who feels responsible for the things he did in 1973 and will feel responsible for tomorrow, that seems to me something that again transcends. Just as experiences transcend the material world, so the person transcends individual experiences.
Okay, but the experiences are dependent upon the physical world, necessary if not sufficient, and they seem to be the activities of persons. So how do you you can't have persons without experiences, and you can't have experiences without persons? Is that right?
Well, I suppose animal sentience would be an example of experience without personhood, without it being experiences being owned or related to each other in a coherent way, or related to a person.
And so how do you then define persons as distinct from experiences? You can say animal sentience are experiences, but they're not persons. Is that what you're saying?
One of the questions we need to address is the relationship between experiences on the one hand and personhood on the other. Why do I give personhood, as it were, identified as a separate category of beings? It seems to me we need to differentiate between mere sentience, which many animals, including so-called lower organisms, may well experience. But what is key about a person is, first of all, unity at any particular time, that the whole range of their experiences are, as it were, caught up in a moment of consciousness that that person seems to own. And the other is temporal depth, the fact that they are aware of having been extended through time. They not only reach into the past, are influenced by the past, and reach into the future, and influenced by an idea of the future, but also they narrate themselves over time. There's always, as it were, inchoate CVs going on in one's head. And that's the kind of thing that defines a person, because with it, of course, then comes responsibility, roles, officers, CV, and so on.
So in the ultimate bedrock of reality, you have these three big categories: material things, sentient things, and personhood.
Or material things, sensations, experiences, and so on, and then persons, yes, absolutely.